What makes a villain truly terrifying? Is it their power, their cruelty, or is it the feeling that they operate by a set of rules so alien and ancient that you can't possibly comprehend them? In the haunting landscapes of Nod-Krai, Genshin Impact introduced us to a villain who is all three. We first knew him as a ghost story, a fragmented phantom named Rerir, the spectral leader of the chaotic wild hunt, but after he manipulated us into orchestrating his own horrifying rebirth, we were left with a tangible, terrifying being, and one detail that changes everything. It's all in the eyes. Those piercing, vertical slit pupils glowing with an otherworldly light. We've seen eyes like that before. They belong to the dragon's sovereigns. So the question we have to ask today is a monumental one. Is Rerir, the Sinner of Khaenri'ah, secretly a dragon? The answer is far more complicated and infinitely more fascinating than a simple yes or no. To unravel this mystery, we need to journey back in time, long before the Cataclysm, to the godless nation of Khaenri'ah at the height of its power. Before he was the master of the Wild Hunt, Rerir was one of the nation's brightest minds. He stood alongside legends like Rhine-Daughter, the alchemist Gold, creator of Albedo and Durin, and Sertologi, the future founder of the Abyss Order's Inner Circle. They were the best of their generation, geniuses poised to lead Khaenri'ah into a new age. But each of these brilliant minds had a fatal flaw. A particular obsession that would lead them down a dark path. For Rhine-Daughter, it was the secrets of life itself. For Sertologi, it was the power of the abyss. And for Rerir, his obsession was with the sky. Specifically, the three moons that hung beyond Teyvat's false sky. To us, the moons are just a part of the scenery, but to a Khaenri'ahn sage like Rerir, they were everything. We know from the lore of Enkinomia and the forbidden texts that the moons hold some of the deepest secrets of this world, and the most important secret of all, the one that likely consumed Rerir, is their origin. The moons were not natural celestial bodies, they were creations, artifacts of immense power, forged by the Dragon King Nibelung himself before the Primordial One ever arrived. The moons are, for all intents and purposes, draconic. So when the Lord tells us that Rerir had an unnatural fixation bordering on obsession with the moons, it wasn't just an interest in astronomy, it was an obsession with a source of pure, primordial draconic power. This is our first major clue. He wasn't just looking at the sky, he was staring into the eyes of the dragons. The story goes that after the 5 Sinners of Khaenri'ah split an abyssal power between them, Rerir eventually fell into a moon's reflection. This has always been treated as a poetic, metaphorical phrase for his disappearance and fragmentation. But what if it was literal? What if in his quest to understand the moons, he found a way to interface with their energy, their essence, and was shattered by a power he could not control? To fall into the reflection of a draconic creation could mean to have your very being infused with its nature. This brings us to the visual evidence, the smoking gun, his eyes. After his rebirth from the Kuvaki canon, Rerir's eyes are undeniably draconic. They share the same vertical slit pupils as Neuvillette, the Hydro Dragon sovereign. Some have argued that Khaenri'ahns are known for their star-shaped pupils, and that's a valid point, but we need to remember a crucial detail. The Rerir we see now is not the original Rerir. He's a reconstruction, a being who was annihilated and then pieced back together. It's highly probable that the original human-looking Rerir from Khaenri'ah did have the star-shaped pupils of his people. We even see glimpses of a more human-looking form in flashbacks and trailers. The draconic features, I believe, are new. They are a direct consequence of his rebirth. Think about the process. His original body was destroyed, his consciousness and power scattered across Nod-Krai like dust in the wind, becoming the terrors of the Wild Hunt. To restore himself, he tricked us into using a fancy 3D printer powered by Kuvaki, a primordial, foundational energy of Nod-Krai. When this blast of pure, raw energy hit his fragmented will, what form would it default to? It would rebuild him based on the deepest, most powerful signatures imprinted on his soul. If Rerir did indeed merge with the essence of a draconic moon, then that signature would be embedded within him. The Kuvaki energy, acting like a cosmic 3D printer, would have rebuilt his body using that draconic blueprint, overriding his original human form. He wasn't born a dragon, he was reborn as one, or at least a human-dragon hybrid, a terrifying chimera of alchemy and primordial power. This theory elegantly explains the dramatic change in his appearance. It wasn't a retcon, it was the entire point of his story arc in Nod-Krai. He sought to become whole again, and in doing so, revealed the monstrous new nature he had acquired centuries ago. But the dragon connection is only half of the equation. We cannot forget his origins. Rerir is a Sinner of Khaenri'ah. He wields abyssal power, a force diametrically opposed to the authority of the Seven Sovereigns and the Primordial One. This introduces a fascinating conflict. Is he a creature of the abyss or a creature of the dragons? I believe the answer is both, and this combination is what makes him so uniquely dangerous. Look at the mark on his hand. It resembles the twisting, dark sigils of the abyss, similar to the corruption we see on characters like Ranova or even Durin. He is fundamentally a being of human origin, corrupted by the abyss, who then sought out and was infused with draconic power. This makes him an unprecedented entity in Teyvat. He's not just a dragon, who represents the old world. He's not just an abyssal monster, which represents the primary antagonistic force to the current world order. He's a synthesis of both, a Khaenri'ah alchemist's mind, wielding the forbidden power of the abyss, housed within a newly forged body bearing the authority of a dragon. He is, in essence, the ultimate heresy, a violation of every natural law in Teyvat. And this brings us to his goals and that final, chilling scene of the Archon quest. After his partial rebirth, enraged that he hadn't restored his full power, he escapes. Where does he go? He goes to the one place that represents a true connection to the worlds beyond Teyvat, the cavern where our journey began, containing the wreckage of the Traveler's spaceship. The single location ties all the threads of his character together. His obsession was always with what lay beyond the false sky. The moons were the closest he could get, but a spaceship? That is a tangible, physical key to the real universe, a way out, a technology that could potentially allow him to bypass the firmament of Teyvat and achieve the goal he's likely had for over 500 years. And who is waiting for him there? Varka, the Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius, who has been on an expedition for years, likely investigating threads far beyond the borders of Mondstadt. Varka's presence implies that the highest echelons of Teyvat's leadership are aware of Rerir, aware of his goals, and are moving to intercept him. So let's construct the full, unified theory. Rerir began as a brilliant Khaenri'ah alchemist obsessed with the draconic power of the moons, seeking a truth beyond Teyvat's sky. In his research, he made contact with that power, falling into the moon's reflection and seeding his soul with a draconic imprint. Then came the cataclysm. His body was destroyed, his essence scattered by the chaotic abyssal energy that consumed his homeland, creating the Wild Hunt. For centuries, his fragmented will sought to restore itself. He manipulated the Traveler into using a blast of primordial Kuvaki energy to forge him a new body. This process, using the draconic imprint as a blueprint, resulted in his hybrid form, part human, part dragon, and fully corrupted by the abyss. His current goal is likely the same as it has always been, to escape the prison of Teyvat. He failed to regain his full power, so he now seeks an alternative method, the otherworldly technology of our spaceship. He is no longer just a ghost story. He is a tangible cosmic threat, a being who seeks to shatter the boundaries of the world itself. So is Rerir a dragon? In essence, yes, but he's a dragon of artifice, a dragon born of forbidden knowledge, alchemical ambition, and abyssal corruption. He's not a rightful heir like Neuvillette. He's a usurper of draconic power, a testament to Khaenri'ah's ultimate sin, the belief that humanity could seize any power it desired, be it from the abyss or from the very creators of the world. And that makes him one of the most compelling and terrifying villains we have ever faced. But that's my take on the incredible lore of Rerir. What do you think? Do you believe his draconic features are a result of his rebirth? What do you think he wants with the spaceship? And what role will Varka play in the story to come? I would love to read all of your theories down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed diving this deep into the mysteries of Teyvat, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next investigation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.